Welcome back, everybody, to episode 29 of the What's He On About Cricket podcast. Today, we're going to round up the whole county championship season so far. We're going to round up England versus Zimbabwe. Then we're then going to have a look at the key selection questions facing England cricket. We're going to have a little select ourselves. We're going to pick England, their team versus India. And then we're going to have a look forward to the England ODI series against West Indies coming up this week. We've got three ODIs coming. And then we'll end off the show by answering a few of the live TikTok questions. We're live streaming on TikTok. If you haven't followed on TikTok, go and check that out. And if you're enjoying what you're listening to, leave a 5-star review on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. Do it wherever you fancy, because that is what really matters to this show, and it matters to me. So help me out with a cheeky 5-star review. But that's all to come as you ask yourself, what is he on about? County Championship Division 1 then, people. What a 7 games it's been. It's been a terrific start to the season. People are absolutely thrilled with the County Championship so far. It's really been a good start, hasn't it? So let's have a look at what hasn't shocked us so far. That's a good way to start our enjoyment of the County Championship. What hasn't shocked us? Well, Worcestershire are stone dead last, and I don't think anyone predicted otherwise. The problem for them is New Road, the Worcestershire cricket ground, is an impossible place to score runs. There's no Worcestershire batter in the top 23, I think, of the County Championship Division 1 batsmen in terms of run scoring. And they just haven't been able to have any standout performers with the bat. Whereas the bowlers has been very different. Fourth and fifth of the top wicket takers in the County Championship Division 1 has been Worcestershire cricketers. So I don't think the bowling's been an issue. Matthew Waite's been brilliant batting in the lower order. He's got runs and wickets for Worcestershire. But they really are destined for relegation. They've only had one win, but they're bottom on 54 points. And I think that they are going to struggle for the rest of this season. One thing they've got going for them is they're going to lose no one really to international stuff or to the 100. I mean, they'll lose a couple of people to the 100, but I think what's really important is that they're going to stay a pretty well set side. That could help them out. However, I still don't think they've got enough talent in there to stay up. Other things that haven't shocked us so far in the county championship, it's Hampshire. Hampshire have lost James Vince and Mohammed Abbas, and a lot of people predicted that they were going to suffer this year. And that's what's happened. Hampshire have suffered. No Vince, no Abbas. Kyle Abbott has done a great stuff for Hampshire, getting 32 wickets. That's really helped them out. But Hampshire have suffered. They're down in 7th. They're on 82 points. They're only 13 points off 3rd place. But they're in that limbo. They're in that region of it could go either way. And I do feel like a couple more losses and they'll be staring the relegation zone straight in the face. That's what Hampshire could be looking forward to later in the season. And then we're looking at Surrey. Surrey haven't shocked us, have they? They're in 2nd place, and they've had 2 wins from 7. They're in 2nd, and they've only had 2 wins. That's Surrey for you, but they have had no losses. They are the only team left undefeated in Division 1. That certainly is not something that has shocked us. However, something that has shocked us. Top of the table, front runners, Nottinghamshire. They're on 115 points, 10 points clear of Surrey. And they are absolutely sailing away, aren't they? The openers are both in the top 7 run scorers this year in the County Championship Division 1. Ben Slater and Hasib Hamid. Hasib Hamid's in a league of his own. We're going to come on to him. But Nottinghamshire are batting well. Their overseas are performing well. Fergus O'Neill, the Australian, he came in and went away with some of the top wicket takers in the county championship so far. He's been brilliant. He's had to go after 4 games. But Mohammed Abbas, he's come in for the next 3 games and he's performed unbelievably well, going an average of about 18 taking up 16 wickets in his 3 games, Mohamed Abbas. We're going to come on to him in a little bit, but Nottinghamshire are sailing high and they are performing absolutely brilliantly. And who else is shocking us? Well, Essex. Essex are dropping off everybody. And I'll tell you the reason. It's Sam Cook. He's away with the England squad, and without him, Essex are suffering. Yes, Jamie Porter is the third top wicket taker with 30 wickets. However, without Sam Cook, they are just looking a little bit less potent with the ball. But then there's no Jordan Cox, is there? He was picked to play for England. He's averaging 65 for Essex so far in his career in East Anglia. And Jordan Cox is currently injured and he was meant to be picked for England. And I get the feeling he's going to be picked more for England throughout the summer. And without him, Essex are going to suffer. They are in 8th place on 75 points, just 16 points above the drop zone. But let's have a look at the individuals of the county championship so far. Let's have a look at the top run scorers. The 2 top run scorers are 2 ex-England openers, Hasib Hamid and Adam Lyth. They've both scored 700 plus runs. 2 top quality cricketers coming towards the end of their careers, but nothing stopping them going all the way. They're performing absolutely brilliantly. Hamid is averaging 82 at the top of the county championship Division 1 run scorers, and Lyth at 52. Those 2 are performing so well at the top of the order for Notts and Yorkshire, respectively. But I want to pick out John Simpson. He is playing for Sussex right now, and he's currently on 300s. That's more than anyone else in Division 1, and he's 36 years old, averaging a beautiful 84. The Sussex man in the middle order has been brilliant this year and last year. Who's to say he can't play for England in the next couple of years? John Simpson's been brilliant. Let's have a look then at the bowlers. 2 pacers at the top of the wicket takers for Division 1 with 32 wickets apiece. We've talked about Kyle Abbott. He is sensational, isn't he? 37 years old, and he's picked up 32 wickets at an average of 18 so far this year. Kyle Abbott's been brilliant, and Hampshire had to sit down at the start of the year and they had to decide who was going to be their overseas pace bowler. They couldn't have both Abbott and Abbas anymore, and they chose well. They chose Abbott despite Mohamed Abbas a couple of weeks ago tearing through the Hampshire batting lineup playing for Notts. So that was a tough one to take. But Kyle Abbott has definitely performed really well. But one man I want us to look at is George Hill. George Hill's not a man I've really heard of too many times in discussions or cricketing talk. But George Hill, the man from Yorkshire, he's 24 years old. And he's averaging 30 plus with the bat in his first class career so far. But with the ball this year, he's got 3 fifers. He's got 32 wickets at an average of 14.6. But here's the big one. His strike rate is 1 wicket every 35 balls. George Hill, the right arm pacer for Yorkshire, is absolutely tearing it up. No one else has got 3 fifers so far in the County Championship Division 1, but George Hill has. And he's getting a wicket every 35 balls. That is astonishing. We'll quickly run you through the Division 1 table at the County Championship break. Nottingshire's at the top, Surrey in second, then Sussex, Warwickshire, Somerset, Durham, and then 7th and 8th are Hampshire and Essex, and the bottom 2 are made up of Yorkshire and Worcestershire. Let's move on, shall we, to Division 2. And I tell you what's shocking me mostly about Division 2. It's who's in that bottom 3? Well, if I'd have picked 3 teams that maybe could have pushed for promotion this year, it would have been Middlesex, Lancashire, and Kent. Well, those 2 are in the bottom 3. Lancashire are the only team that are winless in the entire county championship. Worcestershire have won a game in Division 1, but Lancashire are without a win in the county championship so far. And that's despite having the top scorer in the entire county championship with Marcus Harris on 825 runs. He's taken over the captaincy though from Keaton Jennings, who resigned a couple of weeks ago, but Lancashire are suffering. Kent, in the meantime, they're bottom of Division 2, and they're just finding ways to lose games. Drawable results are becoming losses for Kent. That's 4 losses in 7 games. Middlesex just can't pick up bonus points, especially when batting. Leicestershire are up top with 139 points, I believe, but they've got 22 batting points. Middlesex have got the lowest in the whole county championship with 5 batting points. Middlesex are suffering. 5 batting points in 7 games, but Leicestershire are riding high, aren't they? 23 points clear, I believe, at the top of Division 2. No, correction. Over 30 points clear at the top of Division 2. And they 100% will be coming up to Division 1. How does that sound? Leicestershire in Division 1. It just sounds strange, doesn't it? It just sounds weird. But the reason is they bat all the way down. They've had a Tom Scriven, who's I think he used to be an all-rounder for Hampshire. I think he used to bat in the middle order. He's batting at 11 in this Leicestershire side. Absolutely astonishing stuff. They bat all the way down to 11. And I think Tom Scriven averages in the 20s with the bat in first class cricket. Leicestershire are a well-made side. I'm pretty sure they've got Shan Masood, the overseas from Pakistan, who's performed brilliantly for Yorkshire. And I think maybe Derbyshire over the last couple of years. Correct me if I'm wrong in the TikTok live stream. We're going to come to you in a minute. But Leicestershire have got a good rest of their season ahead, and let alone the 30 points clear. So that's the team stuff. The current table for Division 2 is Leicestershire, Derbyshire, Glamorgan, Gloucestershire. That's your top four. That is surprising, isn't it? And then fifth is Northants. They're probably the 5 teams that I thought were least likely to be in that top 5. And then we've talked about our bottom 3 of Middlesex, Lancashire, and Kent. That's how Division 2 is setting up. But let's look at the individual side of Division 2. Before we move on to the live stream chat, get your questions in before I come and have a little look over there. Bowlers. The top 2 wicket takers, shock, are both from Leicestershire. Ian Holland, the ex-Hampshire man, has taken 28 wickets at an average of 17. And another Leicestershire man, the Dutchman, Logan van Beek, has taken 26. But we had a little talk about the batters earlier. Top of that table, Marcus Harris, 825 runs at an average of 63. He's got 3 hundreds and 3 50s in just 7 games. Unbelievable batting from Marcus Harris. But I want to have a little look at Caleb Jewell, another Aussie. Marcus Harris and Jewell are tearing up County Championship Division 2. And Caleb Jewell, going into last week, had 5 50s and no hundreds at the top of the order for Derbyshire. Then he went on and got 232 last week. What a player he is. And he's now averaging in the 60s, I believe, with Marcus Harris, despite only getting 100, but it was a big one. But then I want to really focus on this guy, Ben Kellaway. I've talked about him a huge amount. I think he's quality. He's the ambidextrous spin bowler from Glamorgan. But I want to focus on his batting stats. He has the highest batting average in Division 2 with 69. And he's got 481 runs. One including a 181 not out for Glamorgan. He's also got 1 fourther and 1 fifer so far this year. Let's have a look at who is in the live stream chat. Welcome to Harry Trussler, Pete. Zach's chucked on, I believe, 1.5 thousand likes. What a legend Zach is. But we're going to move swiftly on to England's Test cricket of 2025. It got off to an absolutely brilliant start, didn't it? Let's have a roundup of England versus Zimbabwe. England posted 565 for 6, with hundreds for Pope, Duckett, and Crawley. Not to mention a good, solid 58 for Harry Brook that has gone incredibly unnoticed, but he is still going strong. He's averaging 58 in Test cricket. What a player Harry Brook is. There is an argument, isn't there? It's just Zimbabwe. But in my opinion, you've still got to do it. You still got to do it. The pressure on these guys was huge. The pressure on Pope and Crawley, and Bashir will come on to, was absolutely massive. They could only really fail couldn't they, against Zimbabwe? And they all went and put out incredibly good performances. Talking of Bashir, in that first innings for Zimbabwe, they got all out for 265. Well, focusing on Brian Bennett briefly, who got 139 off 143. What a huge knock that was. Had Zimbabwe fans in tears. He's 21 years old, and he is one of the main reasons why Zimbabwe this week really showed that they are not a walkover. Even though England won by an innings, they really, really showed fight, didn't they? And they didn't let up, and Zimbabwe put in, on the whole, a good performance. Tung, Atkinson, and Sam Cook, the three pacers we're going to come on to in a moment's time, all went for about 4.3 runs per over. That was their economy in that Zimbabwe first innings. And fair to say they looked below par. However, Shao Bashir, he certainly did not look below par. Despite his customary serving of long hops and full tosses, he took 3 for 62 in that first innings, followed by, in the second innings, a 6 for 81. Total match figures of 9 for 143. We'll come on to Bashir soon. However, the second innings, Zimbabwe fell for 255 all out. Ben Curran, the Curran brother, was he finished on 37. And the experienced Sikandar Raza and Sean Williams got 60 and 88 respectively. But then back to those three seamers, Gus, Cook, and Tung taking a combined 2 wickets as England won by an innings and 45 runs. Now, we've said that Zimbabwe show that they compete on this level. However, we're going to have a look at a few of the key selection queries facing England coming up over 2025. And we're going to look first at number 3, Jacob Bethel versus Ollie Pope. Now, I'll start off with my answer. Who's going to bat at 3 for India? Well, I'm going to pick Pope. However, let's have a look at the arguments. Let's have a look at arguments for Ollie Pope at number 3. Well, he got 171 against Zimbabwe. That's a pretty good argument, isn't it? You could say, well, it's just Zimbabwe, but it's under huge pressure, and he is becoming England's man. He's got 700s at number 3 for England. That is the same that Jonathan Trott got at number 7. Ollie Pope and Jonathan Trott have got the equal amount of hundreds at number 3. Who would have thought that? But more importantly, I think, Ollie Pope averages at number 3, are you ready? 43 with the bat at number 3. He averages 31 at 6. So anyone who's saying he should be batting in the middle order or battling is probably wrong. He averages 43 at number 3. And I don't think, even if we were to say that he should bat in the middle order, I don't think there's room. You've got Brooke, Stokes, and Smith. England love those 3. England fans love those 3. And to be fair, those 3 are absolute jets. So there's no room in that middle order for Ollie Pope. So I think his only realistic spot is at number 3. And here comes the argument against. Jacob Bethel got 350s in 3 games in New Zealand. He averaged 52 at number 3 for England in Test cricket. There's the argument against, which is Bethel should be coming back in. Realistically, if you have a series that good in your debut series, hardly played any first-class cricket, you'd expect him to come straight back in. But Ollie Pope's gone and hit 171 under huge pressure. And I just feel like Jacob Bethel is England's favourite kind of pick. I just feel like England love to pick from the white ball stuff. When Jacob Bethel came off, I just felt that England selectors were just like, this is perfection, isn't it? This is just what we want to see. You know, these outlandish picks coming through and performing well. That's what Jacob Bethel is, and I feel like England selectors want that to work, don't they? But for me, Pope's going to be at number 3 for India, and Bethel's going to be a kind of backup middle order, maybe coming at number 3. Whoever fancies not performing, Bethel will slot in for and play well, 100%. So, next selection query is going to be Shahid Bashir. Is Shahid Bashir's England spinner? Well, I'm going to answer that again for you. In my opinion, yes, he is. I probably have gone back on what I've said in the past about Shahid Bashir, but here's why. Here's the argument for Shahid Bashir. He's the youngest ever England player to take 50 wickets. There you go. Surely that gives you a sense that this guy is a wicket taker. I think what's more important is he bowls wicket taking deliveries. He bowls some absolutely beautiful jaffers against Zimbabwe, Shabashir. And that's what you want from a young spinner. You want someone who shows potential. He's 6'3". He's got potential. And that's what you're looking for. You're not looking for a consistent young spinner. Realistically, that's not going to happen. However, what you are looking for in young spinners is someone who can have that magic delivery. And Shah Bashir showed that he's got that delivery in the locker. He got a 9 for versus Zimbabwe. Yes, it's just Zimbabwe. We've talked about this, but you still got to go out and do it. This young man has confidence alongside Ben Stokes. We've talked about it in past episodes that he averages 32 under Ben Stokes and 64 under Ollie Pope. Give this man the backing he needs, and maybe, just maybe, Shah Bashir could be our man for the future. However, there is an argument against. Everybody loves Jack Leach. There's better spinners possibly in county cricket right now. It's fair to say that Shah Bashir is not the best spinner in England. He got 2 wickets for Glamorgan in 3 games. We've talked about his average of 152 in county cricket so far this year. But another question comes up, doesn't it? Yes, he can take wickets in international cricket. However, he can't take that in county cricket. Is that suggesting that when players have a little bit more confidence in county cricket to go out and whack him around, he suffers? But when people come onto the test stage with a little bit more on the line, people play him confidently, and it looks like he's a little bit easier to play. That seems to be the issue with Shah Bashir. County batters play with that more confidence. They're happy to bop him around. But on the test level, people are a little bit more tentative. Could that be an issue rather than it just be the likes of Ben Stokes? So Shah Bashir, a lot of queries raised there. And then we're going to come on to the final point about Bashir. The Ashes. In Australia, they will come firing. And in county cricket, they've come firing at Bashir and he suffered. In Australia, the Aussies will come at Bashir and he will suffer. That's kind of my mentality, my logic going into this. And we know how Aussies deal with spinners. Jack Leach got pumped. In 2013, Graham Swan got pumped. In 2017-18, Moeen Ali got absolutely pumped. All right, this is what happens to English spinners. And I worry that a young Bashir going out to the Ashes could not only ruin his career, however, it's going to give him a huge confidence knock. And I just don't think being young and being an off spinner is always very good. You need patience as an offie, and you just need to toil away. You need experience to be able to really perform at a consistent level. The final debate for England cricket. 3 seamers. Atkinson, Tongue and Cook are the current lineup. Not to be confused with Sam and Tom Curran, that is. But potentials are Wokes, Cast and Potts. We've got Wood and Archer both out injured. But let's have a look at who's currently in that lineup. Sam Cook, really interesting article, everybody listening, on the Telegraph over the weekend. Given to me by my granddad. That's a nice shout out for my granddad there. But Sam Cook's pace throughout the day dropped from about 80 miles an hour to about 70 miles an hour by the end of the day on the first day of his bowling, I think on day 2 or to day 3. So on spell 1, he was bowling at 80 odd, and then at spell 4, he was bowling in the low 70s. And Bazball do not like this. One example is Ollie Robinson. One of the main reasons why Ollie Robinson got shooed out of this test side is that he couldn't maintain his pace. People have got no problem with a slow seamer. If they keep bowling that pace, like Scott Bowler, they keep bowling that pace away all day long and keep taking wickets, selectors love him. However, with Ollie Robinson, his pace dropped throughout the day and he was not the same cricketer at the end of the day. That's a huge thing for Ollie Robinson, and a great article there on the Telegraph. I can't tell you who wrote it, but full props to him. Sam Cook, his pace dropped and England are worried about it. There was a really interesting thing the other day, which was when Stokes had an opportunity to take the two late wickets on the final innings at the end of the game, a great opportunity for England to bowl Sam Cook, get him some wickets, get him some confidence for the next test he plays. Stokes decided to play Josh Tongue instead. So Sam Cook wasn't given those bits of confidence boosts. And speaking of Josh Tongue, Gus Atkinson, they weren't at their best, were they? They were not at their best. And I feel like this is crunch time for the England seamers. Going into India, going into the Ashes. Absolute crunch time for these pace bowlers. With Wood and Archer back on the way, that remaining one or two spots is going to be crucial. People have got to absolutely hammer those spots home. Atkinson, Tongue, Cook, Wokes, Cast, Potts, all firing for those two pace positions alongside Wood and Archer, who could potentially play. So I think personally, I think we need a mix up for the India test. We're going to come on to my full team in a minute, but I personally think Wokes and Cast have both got to play. Wokes has been really brilliant. Wokes has been quality for Warwickshire last week, and his experience is going to be huge for this England pace bowling lineup. A lot of talk that against Zimbabwe, the three England pace bowlers didn't work together. Wokes needs to bind them together with a bit of experience, especially without Mark Wood there. Chris Wokes is going to be vitally important. And then you got Bryden Cast. He's been brilliant throughout the winter. All right. Brilliant for over a year in this England Test bowling lineup. Bryden Cast has to come back in. And then there's that third spot. We're going to come on to that now as we look through the team for India. I've picked it for you. So we're going to open up with Crawley, Duckett, Pope, Root, Brooke, Stokes, Smith. There's your top seven. We've talked about this before. That is a sturdy top seven. Bethel's going to be the reserve batsman. We've got Rue and Cox on the edge of that lineup. However, that top seven looks set in stone. I've got Chris Wokes at 8. I've got Bryden Cast at 10. And I've got Shah Bashir at 11. I'm going to give Gus another look into this lineup. I've had to think about this, and I think Gus Atkinson's year last year was way too good to leave him out at this point. However, Gus Atkinson's slotting in at 9 for me, but I really want Matt Potts to get a gig. I can't stress this enough. Matt Potts has to play. He has to play. And they are those two, Potts and Bethel, are waiting in the wings. They are going to be quality. Big thanks to Rishi in the live stream chat. We've had likes from him. We've had likes from Harry Trussler. Nathan said I batted well on Saturday. Thanks, buddy. I got 60 just for all the listeners who care. I'm sure you don't, but I wanted to get that out there. But before we dive into the England team for the West Indies, they've got 3 ODIs coming up this week. It's a really interesting period of England international cricket, and I'm going to run you through that England team to face off against West Indies. Gus Atkinson is out injured with a hamstring issue. I think he'll be back for the India test. Therefore, that Gus Atkinson spot in the England test lineup might be up for grabs. Maybe Matt Potts could slot in there. However, I think the England ODI team are lacking one thing, and that is a genuine pace batting all-rounder. Ben Stokes at number 6. I think what we've missed, especially with the Champions Trophy and England ODIs of late against India, etc., I don't think we've got 7 top batters in this lineup. I think when you've got an ODI side, you need your 7 top batters to be quality players. In prime 2019, we even had Moeen Ali at 8. How ridiculous is that? And Chris Woke sometimes at 9. That's how good we were. And that all comes from Ben Stokes at number 6. Ben Stokes provided us with that balance of having a genuine pace bowling all-rounder at number 6 who could bowl plenty of overs. Because the problem is, you've got the likes of Bethel and Root and Will Jacks, who are all great spinners in this ODI team. However, if you don't have that pace bowling all-rounder, you've then only got 3 slots for pace lower down the order. And I worry that 30 overs of pace, potentially even 20 if one gets injured in the game, is not enough. I think you need 4 pace bowlers. That's why Stokes was so crucial. But we need 40 overs of pace. Therefore, this is what the lineup looks like. This is what we're going for. Duckett and Bethel I've got opening up to play against West Indies. We've got Tom Banton at 3, Root, Brooke and Butler. How's that for a top 6? Absolute quality. The thing is, ideally, I'd want Butler at 7 because this is where the tail starts. We got Jamie Overton at 7, Matt Potts at 8, Bryden Cast at 9, Saqib Mahmood at 10, and Adil Rashid at 11. How huge is that tail? If only number 7, Jamie Overton, we could determine as a true out and out all rounder. Unfortunately, he's not a good enough batter. And when England have played him at number 7 in the past, it just makes our tail look too long, doesn't it? That's what I worry about with Jamie Overton because him at number 7, yes, he's a good bowler and does well on his day, maybe gets an odd 50 with the bat. He's just not quite there as a batter for us to truly select him at number 7. But the problem is, if you go in and pick Will Jacks to bat at 7, you've then got 3 spinning all-rounders to play alongside Rashid of Root, Bethel, and Will Jacks. Will Jacks makes that top 7 look so much better with the bat. However, if you're going to have enough pace bowling to make that team look fairly well balanced when it comes to your bowling attack, I think Jamie Overton's got a slot in at 7. It makes the tail look long, and I just do think the best sides in ODI cricket have a good top 7. You look at India, they got Axar Patel, Jadeja batting low down the order, and they are so good with the bat. And you look at that 2019 prime England side when we had Roy, Bairstow, Root, Morgan, Stokes, Butler, uh, someone else, Moeen Ali, Chris Wokes, all up there. Genuine all-rounders and batsmen in that top 7 or 8. I just think that's what you need in ODI cricket. You need people to bat low down. If you have that top order collapse, that is so important for England moving forward. Rashid's going to take wickets. Saqib Mahmood, I think, needs to play. He's been too good as an ODI bowler in recent time. But that is my England 11 to take on West Indies this week. Thank you to all the listeners and the live stream watchers. We got 2.3k likes on there. Huge shout out to everyone on TikTok. Go and follow the social medias. Give us a 5-star review. Really helps me out. Absolutely love to see some good feedback on the podcast. Don't leave any feedback if you don't like it, to be honest. No, I do want to hear it. I do want to hear it. I love every little bit of feedback, but if you're going to leave any stars, I prefer you left 5. Go and give a follow on all the social medias. And I hope the question got answered of what is he on about. Cheers.